I don't want people packing heat. I don't want people carrying guns concealed through here because that'll wreak havoc.
Governor Kathy Hochul speaking with MSNBC's Jonathan Caperhart outside of New York City's Pride Festival today, saying the Supreme Court's Thursday ruling to overturn New York's restrictions to carry a concealed weapon is instilling fear in New Yorkers who now worry about who among them may be armed.
There's a lot of fear out here.
New York's existing law requires an application to show proper cause for seeking a license, which 6 of 9 Supreme Court justices said violates the Second Amendment constitutional right to keep and bear arms. The ruling, which would make it easier to carry a concealed gun in public places, comes in the wake of several mass shootings, including the May 14th Tops shooting in Buffalo.
I'm from Buffalo, New York. The graves on my neighbors, 10 minutes from where I live, were slaughtered in that grave. Those graves are still fresh. And the Supreme Court totally not caring that governors have rights to protect their citizens.
Hochul said Thursday's legislative session will focus on drafting legislation that deems certain places gun-free zones and empowers business owners to turn away those who may be carrying a concealed.
To be able to have the power to say, no, we don't want you coming in. So, and also increasing our requirements to receive the permit and additional training as well, in-person training. So we're doing what we can. But this is extremely frustrating.
We spoke with people in Buffalo today about the governor's plans to make obtaining a concealed weapon harder. Some are for it.
I feel like because there's other countries that have been able to more or less handle the problem, that we need to at least explore it a little bit more than we have in the past.
Others are not.
I'm sure there's millions of us that actually do carry, and we do it legally. And it's our right, and it's also our constitutional right here in the United States.
I do understand where the governor's coming from, but there's a lot of Americans in this country that are divided, that, you know, they say you're stopping good people from getting guns and obtaining guns and doing it lawfully.
Jordan Kamari is a former Marine and says it still took him a year and a half to obtain a concealed weapons license in New York, a situation that's caused him to side with the Supreme Court.
They're making it harder on us to, you know, sort of fulfill that Second Amendment.
The state legislature will meet at noon on Thursday.
Joining me bright and early this Sunday morning, Lieutenant Matthew Malinowski with the Syracuse Police Department. Thank you so much for joining me today, Lieutenant.
Good morning, Vanessa, and happy to be here keeping our community informed as always, so thank you.
Absolutely, definitely very important to keep them informed. So we want to be able to start off this morning by clearing up some confusion with the Supreme Court ruling and combating gun violence. What do people kind of need to know about that? Because I know that you said before the interview that there's a lot of confusion with that. How are you keeping the community members informed on this?
Yeah, so just being out and about in our community, people saw this Supreme Court ruling where now in New York State, you don't have to have proper cause to carry conceal. Been getting a lot of questions now. So people that have pistol permits are wondering if they have that sportsman classification, which means they could only take their pistol with them when they were going to a range, or was it just for employment, or was it a full carry conceal? Now, can we carry all the time, regardless of which classification we had? I'm going to say that when these rulings come down, it takes a lot of work on our end to do a little bit of research and see exactly what those rulings mean for us going forward. And then we're going to have to look at the policies and procedures when it comes to carrying pistols in New York State. So what I would say for now, as we're getting clarification and trying to understand exactly what this means for us from a police angle, you as a pistol permit holder carrying a gun, I would just continue doing what you're doing for now until we have some concrete information and we can actually get this ruling understand, so we understand what it means to carry a gun here in New York. But for right now, I would just continue doing what you're doing and you shouldn't have any issues. And again, until we have those policies and procedures in place to adjust for this new ruling.
So definitely want to be patient and kind of hold off and wait to hear more information from you and the Syracuse Police Department. Also, summer just kicked off within this week, so we have some pool safety tips heading into the summer season for all the kiddos and families out there.
Yeah, so weather's getting better. We're all going to be out in our pools, enjoying our backyards. It's just we wanted to give a little bit of awareness on this because these tragedies do happen from time to time, and it really comes down to unsupervised children playing in pools, or if your pool's not properly secured and someone falls in and unfortunately drowns. Again, it's rare, but it does happen. So the main things on this, obviously, we never want to leave our kids unsupervised in a pool. You can determine the appropriate age for your family, but obviously our youngsters, they should be supervised. They could be playing hit their head on the side of the pool and go unconscious. And if no one's watching, it can happen that fast. One of the things we like is obviously adequate fencing with proper locks, but another really cool piece of technology is a device that floats on top of the pool that if the water gets disturbed, it will sound an alarm. So even if it's a terrible accident where a different youth wanders into your yard, hops over your fence, and falls into the pool, at least you can be notified. But we just want people to be aware of that. Again, summertime, we want to have fun. We just don't want to see anyone get hurt.
Fun, but definitely want to be safe with that. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Malinowski, for joining me bright and early this morning. More support is coming to New York's LGBTQ community. Governor Kathy Hochul announcing new legislation in honor of Pride Month by providing more resources to the transgender community. This not long after a Supreme Court judge suggested a high court ruling that protects gay marriage and contraception rights nationwide. In a tweet today, Governor Hochul says in part, quote, "At a time when trans rights are under attack, I am proud to sign legislation today that will support our LGBTQ plus community, including the creation of the Lorena Borges Transgender Wellness and Equity Fund." This as Pride parades continued today across the nation. You are looking at this afternoon's gatherings in Chicago, the Twin Cities, and New York City. Today, our Samantha Crossan breaks down the new legislation and checks in with the LGBTQ plus community to say how they feel about the bills. She joins us upstairs now with more details.
On Saturday, over 12,000 people gathered at the Inner Harbor to celebrate LGBTQ plus Pride Month. While the people who I spoke with today are excited about state bills being put into place to protect them, they're worried about what the future might hold. Today, Governor Hochul signed 2 bills into law that will provide support to the LGBTQ plus community. The first establishes a fund that will support organizations that provide critical services for transgender, gender nonconforming, and non-binary people, including $3 million given to the Department of Health to support their needs.
Trans people with their healthcare needs, they need a place where they can go where they feel safe, where they're respected, where they know that they're not going to be misgendered, where they might be able to access some of the medical care that they need, whether that be hormones, surgery, anything that they might want.
The second requires political parties to change their rules to permit people who do not identify as a male or female to be elected to party positions.
It makes people that may not be comfortable putting down their gender able to run for office legally. So it's a big deal.
These bills, aimed at protecting LGBTQ plus people, were signed just days after Roe v. Wade was overturned, and Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in an opinion that certain gay rights should be reconsidered, including same-sex marriage. It's because of these opposing messages being sent at the state and federal levels that people in the LGBTQ plus community feel worried for the future.
Any of us that are married or, engaged on our ways to getting married know that that's next. It might not be right in line with what they did, but if they can reverse Roe v. Wade after 50 years of it being the law of the land, they're coming for marriage equality too.
Alongside the 2 bills, Governor Kathy Hochul has called for New York State landmarks to be lit up in the colors of the LGBTQ plus flag and the transgender flag on varying nights until the end of Pride Month to show the state's support for the community.